Hi lovelies, Lauren here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I have an ether yoga flow for you. Ether is probably one of the more subtle elements within the Ayurvedic system, the science of life. And without ether, we wouldn't really necessarily have the other elements like earth, water, air, and fire. They wouldn't really exist because ether it literally kind of means space or emptiness, the absence of anything. So without that space, without that emptiness, we wouldn't have these other elements coming into play. So as we look at the ether element today, we're going to be looking for space, little pockets of space within the body, maybe within the mind, space around us, and without feeling the need to kind of fill that space with breath, with movement, with all the other things that kind of keep us busy, keep us occupied. We're going to let that space be for a little bit. Let it kind of exist for a few moments, appreciate having that space there, maybe physically feeling more spacious, like we can take up some more space. And then we can then decide what we'd like to add in, maybe kindness, patience, adding in the things that we perhaps really desire at this moment. So that's the kind of theme of our practice today. I do definitely recommend having some blocks for your practice, but if you don't have blocks, feel free to improvise and use anything you may have around your lovely homes. And then we're going to start in a Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly, and you may use your blocks for this. So as you come down towards the mat, you're going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. And if this really gets kind of uncomfortable, the hips here, letting gravity kind of take hold of the knees, you could place the blocks underneath the knees just to give them a little bit of support so they can kind of rest down into the block. And then when you're ready, coming all the way down onto your back. Beautiful. Let the spine be nice and long. You can take a moment as you come down here just to kind of iron out any little wriggles or niggles that may be present for you. You might place the hands on the belly, the chest, or one hand to belly, one hand to chest. Or quite simply, the arms might be down by your side. Just go with whatever instinctively feels right for you today. And this is where we're going to begin our ether element practice. So take a few moments just to allow yourselves to settle. You might even have the eyes open for a little while longer, just taking in the space around you, taking in your surroundings, noticing where you are in the room. If you're practicing with someone else, noticing who's nearby, where are they in relationship to you. And then when you are ready, closing off the eyes and drawing that awareness inwards. Perhaps imagining we can physically send the mind to a different place of the body and just see what's there. Sending our awareness to the shoulders maybe, the heart space, the hips. Perhaps there's a particular place in the body that's really calling for a little bit of attention today. So feel free to take your own time just to check in here. And then gradually just starting to find the breath here. Without feeling the need to change the breath in any way, just noticing that steady inhale and that steady exhale. Notice how the breath feels. Does it feel light and airy and smooth? Or maybe it feels heavy here. It doesn't matter what we notice, doesn't mean we have to perhaps feel a particular way here. We're just noticing. And then just very softly starting to begin that search for the spaces within. So as we breathe, we might notice that teeny tiny space in between every inhale and every exhale. Perhaps we notice that space within the body, within the lungs, as we completely exhale, the lungs deflate. And there's that emptiness before we breathe in and fill up that empty space with that clean, fresh air. Where else can we find those little pockets of space within the body? Maybe it's within your stomach here if we're yet to have a big meal today. Perhaps there's that emptiness there. So in your own way, just starting to notice the spaces that exist within the body, breath, the mind. And if the mind is feeling quite full at the moment with all these different thoughts occupying our headspace, perhaps we can identify the space in between each thought. So as one thought leaves, there's that brief moment before another thought arrives. And maybe that space in between each thought starts to grow. So gradually our thoughts get spread further and further apart. And maybe with that spaciousness that comes with that, maybe there's now a little bit more stillness within the mind. How does that stillness then reflect throughout the body, throughout the breath? Taking our time just to be with that for a few moments. Continuing your journey, searching for the spaces within. And then maybe just taking about 3 more breaths here, slow and steady, no need to rush. Taking a breath in through the nose, softly sighing out through the mouth. Beautiful. And again, breath in. There's that teeny space in between the inhale and the exhale. One final time, breath in. And a breath out. We might take our time as we welcome in little bits of movement within the fingertips and toes. And then slowly reaching the hands down to the outside edges of the knees, or perhaps the outside of the thighs here, to encourage the knees to lift and come to a close. Slowly mobilizing through those hip joints. And as you place the soles of the feet firmly down towards the mat, lower spine grounds down towards the mat here. Maybe we just softly sway the knees from side to side. Again, inviting in that softness, that little bit of fluidity here. So we've kind of allowed gravity to take hold of the body. And it's now time to kind of move around softly, take our time. Beautiful. And then when you are ready, let's start to draw the knees in towards the chest. You can take hold of the shins, the back of the thighs, the kneecaps, whichever feels most accessible to you, whichever feels most comfortable. Maybe there's that little sway from side to side, giving your spines a massage on your backs here. Okay. And then seeing if we can kind of physically manipulate the space within using that breath. So bringing the hands towards your knees if that's okay. As you breathe in, we're going to push the knees slightly away from our chest, creating space for the belly to rise as the lungs inflate. And then as we exhale, we draw the knees in, closing that space, forcing that air out. Beautiful. We're going to keep that going a couple more times. Breathing in, create space. Breathing out, close the gap. Lovely. And feel free to move through this at your own pace here. So if we're really enjoying this slow, steady energy today, maybe staying with that, or maybe you've got a little bit more energy, you want to move that a little bit more quickly, feel free to do so. But stay with that idea of creating space and then closing the space. Beautiful. Inhale, belly rises, lungs inflate. Exhale, draw the knees in. Beautiful. Perhaps one more full round. Inhale, send the knees away. Exhale, draw the knees in. Beautiful. From here, inhale, send the knees slightly further away so there's a comfortable distance between the knees and the chest. And then maybe see if we can wrap the right leg around the left. So you might cross at the knees here. You may actually be able to kind of wrap this right foot behind the left calf, depending on what kind of body we're living in today. But crossing the knees as best as we can. So we've got eagle legs here. We're then going to see if we can find an eagle arm. So reach the arms up to the sky. And then crossing the right arm over the left. Maybe crossing at the elbows, and it's up to you. You can bring the palms of hands towards the shoulders here. You may want to come into full eagle with the backs of the hands together or the palms of the hands together. Remember, we're still early on within our practice, so don't feel as though you need to come to a place that doesn't feel good here and now. And again, see if we can kind of manipulate the space within the body. So as we inhale, we're going to increase the distance between our elbows and our knees. And then as we exhale, seeing if we can close the gap. So elbows draw towards the knees. We lift the back of the head away from the mat. Beautiful. Inhale, we come back down. We increase that distance. Let's keep going a few more times. Exhale, close the gap. Lift the back of the head. Inhale, softly come back down. Exhale, close the gap. Inhale, come back down. Maybe one more time. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen. Beautiful. Increasing that distance. And then from here, softly unravel the legs, unravel the arms, and let's take a full body stretch. So we're going to slide the feet to the bottom two corners of the mat, reach the arms to the top two corners of the mat. Take up as much space as you'd like here. Enjoy that full body stretch. Beautiful. And as you exhale, we can soften, circle the arms down by your sides, bend the knees, and walk the feet in. Okay, so as you walk the feet in, bring your heels as close as you can towards your sit bones. Palms to hands, maybe pressing down towards the mat here, really rooting down through the heels of the feet. Take a breath, and as you do this, maybe seeing if we can create space between our lower spine and the mat. So it may be as if we're kind of coming into a little back bend here. So you create this space, almost so you can kind of slide your hand underneath your lower spine here. And then as we exhale, we reverse that. We press the lower spine down, tuck the tailbone under, push down through the feet, and softly begin to lift the hips away from the ground. Beautiful, big breath in. Exhale, steadily control that roll down bone by bone. See how softly we can land the hips back down towards the mat. And let's repeat that again. So as we inhale, we create that space between the lower spine and the mat. It's almost like we find that little back bend, checking we've got that space by maybe sliding the hand underneath. As we exhale, we reverse, we press the lower spine down, tuck the tailbone under, push down through the feet, and steadily lift the hips off. Make sure the glutes are active here. The glutes are going to work to help protect your lower spine throughout this movement. Take a breath in. And exhale again, steadily rolling down. Beautiful. The hips really softly land. Let's go one more time. Inhale, find that space between the lower spine and the mat. Exhale, close that space, tuck the tailbone under. Beautiful, hips start to rise. Okay, beautiful. Take an inhale. And exhale, we steadily roll all the way back down. Okay. As the hips land, feel free to maybe shake that off for a few minutes. Again, a little sway of the knees from side to side. Or maybe if we're ready, let's draw the knees back in towards the chest. Have that little roll maybe. Okay. We're going to repeat that eagle flow on the other side. So again, let's send the knees slightly away from the chest. This time we're going to wrap the left leg on top of the right. So again, you may be able to cross at the knees. You may be able to kind of wrap that left foot around the back of the right calf. Find a place that feels okay for you. So we've got the eagle legs established. Then adding in the eagle arms, so reaching the arms up. And then crossing the left arm over the right. And again, you can cross at the elbows and just bring the hands towards your shoulders. I tend to find this a little bit more comfortable here. Or maybe we bring the backs of the hands together or the palms of the hands together. Go with whichever feels best. And again, there's this idea of increasing the distance between the elbows and the knees. And then really seeing if we can close that gap. So take a breath. Exhale, starting to close the gap. Send your knees towards your elbows, elbows towards your knees. Lift the back of the head. Inhale, we steadily roll back down. Let the back of the head land softly. Increase that distance. Exhale, we go again. Inhale, we steadily roll back down. Beautiful. Couple more times. Exhale. Close the gap. Inhale, softly come down. One more time. Exhale. Close the gap. Inhale, steadily come down. Beautiful, well done. From here, same again. We unravel the arms, unravel the legs, stretch the feet to the bottom 2 corners of the mat, stretch the arms to the top 2 corners of the mat. Let yourselves take up space here, grow, grow, grow. And then as we exhale, we can soften. And again, let's circle the arms all the way down by our sides, bend the knees and steadily walk the feet in. Okay, so exactly the same again, rooting down through the heels of the feet, finding that little back bend, that space between the lower spine and the mat as you inhale. And then as we exhale, we press the lower spine down, tuck the tailbone under and begin to lift the hips. Beautiful. Inhale, send the hips high to the sky. Exhale, control that roll down. Beautiful. Hips softly land. Inhale, lift the lower spine off. Find that little back bend. Exhale, close that gap. Tuck the tailbone under and rise the hips off. Beautiful. Breath in as you get to the top. Exhale, really controlling this roll down. So lowering down slower than you instinctively want to maybe. Beautiful. Okay, hips land. One more time. Inhale, finding that space in between the lower spine and the mat. Exhale, closing that space, tucking the tailbone and rising the hips off. Beautiful, really well done. Take an inhale. Exhale, steadily roll all the way back down. Beautiful. And then from here, let's draw the knees back in towards the chest. Okay. And again, little rock from side to side if you wish. And then in our own time, we're going to bring ourselves into a tabletop position. It's up to you how you go. You may kind of choose to roll to one side and bring yourselves up that way, or maybe having this little rock and roll forwards and back. So as many times as you wish, gradually building up through momentum, coming all the way up and over, and perhaps swinging the ankles round to one side, sending the hands out in front and taking a moment to kind of walk yourselves back onto your mat. and finding this tabletop position. So as we come into this tabletop, this kind of very familiar place within our yoga practice, let's take a moment to make sure the wrists are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. And I'm going to leave it up to you today. You may wish to come through this familiar cat and cow, so that inhale to lift it through the head and heart, creating space within the heart space here. And then maybe exhale to round through the back, letting the shoulder blades separate left to right. So you can move through that as steadily as you wish, letting the breath guide you from one place to the next. Or maybe we find this a little bit more of a free flow. So it might be kind of a circular motion through the rib cage, through the torso. And again, just aiming to find these little pockets of space within this main trunk of the body. So within our rib cage, we hold so much. There's all these organs kind of packed in so tightly. Our heart, lungs, kidney, bladder. There's so much within. So as we kind of move around here, it's almost like we're kind of giving those organs a little bit of a massage, moving them through space. And then seeing if we can create space in between everything that is held in our rib cage. So we might think of it as kind of like separating each rib. Beautiful, separating the lungs from one another maybe. Maybe separating your rib cage from your pelvis. Finding space in between each vertebrae. Maybe there's so much we can kind of play with as we move through this. So in your own time, just kind of having that little wriggle. And it doesn't need to look like anything particularly here. It doesn't need to look fancy at all. Just moving around and around. Okay. Let's take one more breath in. One more breath out. Beautiful. And then from here, let's tuck all 10 toes under. And you might need to widen the knees and widen the feet slightly here. You're going to walk the hands towards you and see if you can lift the knees off to press yourselves back into a malasana at the back of the mat. I'm actually going to turn to face you for this. And there's a couple of things you can do here if this feels a little bit tricky or a little bit intense on the knees or the ankles. So one thing you can do here, you may choose to sit on top of your blocks, providing that little seat takes the pressure out of the hips somewhat here. Or if you find that your heels are really lifted away from the ground, you can place a block underneath each heel and then let the hips drop down. So this might be where you want to be. So have a little play with kind of both those options. If you don't want to take any of those options, you want to come to a normal malasana, feel free to do so. But I think I'm going to come to a little seat here. Feel free to perhaps come into one. And if that doesn't feel right, maybe try out the other. Take a moment, find what works best for you. Okay. And aiming to kind of lift up through the chest as best as we can, sending the knees slightly out to the side. We're going to send the right arm towards the left ankle, so it kind of comes across the body here. Now as we inhale, we're going to sweep that left arm up to the sky, grow tall. And as we exhale, we reach up and over. So it's almost like the left hand is going to reach towards the right hand ankle. Stretch it as far away as you can. And then it softly comes through the center. Let the fingertips kind of drag along the mat here. Inhale, left arm sweeps up to the sky. Exhale, reach it up and over. Beautiful. Reaches across the right hand side. And we let the fingertips drag along the mat. Let's go once more on this side. Inhale, left arm sweeps up. Exhale, it comes up and over. And really try to send the left fingertips as far away from you as you can before you bring the fingertips down. Beautiful. It comes through the center. And then from here, we're going to change. We let the right hand come off. Left hand takes hold of the right ankle. Here we go with the other side. Inhale, right arm sweeps up to the sky. Find that length. Exhale, right arm comes up and over. We reach it towards the left hand side, and again, see how far away can you reach those right fingertips before they touch down towards the ground. And we drag them across through the center. Beautiful. Twice more. Inhale, reach up through that right arm, grow. Exhale, comes up and over. Softly let the fingertips come down, gently kind of caress the mat as you move on to the other side. Beautiful. Final time. Inhale. And an exhale. Beautiful. Let the hand softly come all the way back through the center, and then from here we can let go of that right ankle with the left hand. Come all the way through the center, the palms of the hands meet in front of the heart space. Maybe we send the elbows to the inner crease of the knees, and just see how much space there is now within your rib cage, within this heart space. Maybe we can slide the shoulders a little bit more comfortably down the back. Beautiful. One more breath in. One more breath out. Lovely. So this might be getting a little bit tricky for the hips right about now. So from here, send your fingertips down to the ground. Big push off through the feet to fly the hips high to the sky. You can point the toes back forwards as you come into this forward fold. Okay. And as we come into this forward fold, let the upper body hang really heavy. So the upper body just folds over the legs. Have a nice little sway from side to side, releasing off that tension or pressure that may exist within the lower spine here. Beautiful, well done. Perhaps imagining your body kind of dripping down over the legs with every out breath, with every exhale. Maybe kind of coming that little bit further. Keep a little bit of softness through the knees as you sway. Beautiful. One more breath. One more exhale. Okay, and then from here, maybe finding your blocks again. Finding blocks underneath both hands, choose whichever height of the blocks feels most comfortable to you. And you may decide to take the blocks away if you feel okay bringing the hands down to the ground. That's entirely up to you. But again, we soften through the knees. We let the upper body completely relax over the legs. And then we're going to begin to walk the hands with the blocks round to the left-hand side. Keep the toes pointing forwards. The feet stay exactly where they are. And again, we soften through the knees and we let the upper body fold over this left-hand side. Maybe we're okay with the hands down to some blocks, or maybe fingertips touch down towards the ground. Only bring the fingertips down if they can comfortably meet the ground. If you feel like you're reaching and you're kind of straining together, take that pressure away. Come to the blocks. Okay. Head hangs heavy. Release through the back of the neck. One more breath here. And one more breath out. Breathing in, let's steadily lift the head and chest. Walk the hands with the blocks back through center. And then when you're ready, take this across to the right. And exactly the same, the feet stay where they are, the toes stay pointing forwards. Beautiful. So folding over down the right hand side, and you may kind of feel this sensation how you can push your left hip round to the left hand side, maybe increasing that stretch there. Beautiful. And again, if the hands comfortably come down to the ground, let them do so, or maybe sticking with your blocks today. Back of the neck soft, let the bottom jaw fall away from the top. Beautiful. One more inhale. One more exhale. Okay. Inhale, little rise up through the head and chest. And again, we walk the hands with the blocks back through the center. Hang out in your forward fold for one more inhale. One more exhale. And then as we inhale, let's steadily roll up through the spine. So we stack up bone by bone, leave the blocks behind as you go. Soften through the knees, tuck the tailbone under. No need to rush here. Beautiful. Head is the final thing to lift. Maybe we take a little shoulder roll, lift the shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, send them down and away. Beautiful. We were in that forward fold for a little bit of time. So as you rise up here, if we're feeling a little bit dizzy, take a moment, root down through the feet. Spread the toes down and towards the mat. Lovely. Take another breath in. And a breath out. Fabulous. When we're ready to, let's inhale to sweep the arms up, grow tall. Again, there's this sensation of kind of lifting your rib cage away from your pelvis. Breath in. Now, as we exhale, let's soften through the knees, hinge at the hips, dive all the way back down into your forward fold. Maybe the hands find the blocks that are there waiting for us. Okay. As we inhale, let's take a halfway lift. So rise up, fingertips towards our shins, find length through the spine. And as we exhale, folding back down. Okay. Bend through the knees, so much so that the fingertips can come down towards the ground, and then take a big step back with the left leg. Let's carefully drop that left knee all the way down towards the ground. Maybe wriggling those right toes forward, so stacking the bones here, so right knee stacks over that right ankle. You can keep the hands down to your blocks that are there at the top of the mat, or maybe rising up through the head and heart, lifting the arms up to the sky for this low lunge. Beautiful. Now as you come into the slow lunge again, where can we find the space? Is it within that space between the rib cage and the pelvis? Maybe working a little bit deeper in between each rib here. Maybe it's in the hips as you just kind of softly drive the hips forwards. Beautiful. Take another breath. And an exhale. Beautiful. Reaching up that little bit higher through the left hand. Right hand is either going to come down towards your right hip, and actually let's come here first of all. So you reach up through the left hand to right hip, breath in. Exhale, we begin to take a little lean over to the right. So we've got this side body stretch down the left hand side. If you're happy here with the right hand to the right hip, maybe stay. Or maybe we release the right hand down, maybe incorporating our block and bringing the hand down towards the block here. And again, you can play with the height of the block, find a place that feels comfortable to you. So we're finding this length all the way from the outside of this left hip, past the left side of the rib cage, left shoulder, energy reaching out through the left fingertips. Beautiful. Remember your breath here. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And as we inhale, we can steadily rise all the way up through the center. Right arm comes back up to meet the left. Take a moment here to again reach up through both hands. And then if it's okay, bring the palms of the hands together. Exhale as you bend through the elbows and release your thumbs to come to kind of the back of your neck here. So we kind of lead with the elbows up towards the sky. So we've got this beautiful heart opening here. So we lead with the heart to rise up. Maybe you lift your chin slightly away from your chest. Beautiful. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Okay. Inhale, let's release the arms all the way back up. Exhale, let the hands steadily come down to the inside of this right foot. Okay, keep your blocks nearby, they may come in handy. So as the hands come down to the inside of the right foot, maybe wriggling that right foot out to the long edge of the mat so you've got a little bit more space to let the hips to drop forwards. Okay, so you may use the blocks underneath the hands here to bring the ground a little bit higher up towards you. Beautiful. Okay, so this is where we might be in our lizard lunge. And again, depending what kind of body we are living in today, you may wish to come down onto your elbows, either elbows to blocks all the way down to the ground. But again, come to a place that feels okay today. So if you're like me and you're feeling particularly achy today and you don't want to put too much pressure on those hips, maybe stay elevated. Okay. Just taking about 2 more breaths here. So find this heaviness within the hips. Let them sink down towards the mats. Beautiful. Okay, 1 more breath in. 1 more breath out. Gently pushing down through the hands, rising up onto the hands if you're not there already. Gently lift up out of the hips. And you might have this little rock forwards and back. So you might lengthen the right leg, lift up through the right toes, sinking the weight back forwards for a moment, and then letting yourselves come back just to kind of ease out of those hips. Beautiful. And then when you're ready to, planting the hands down, lift up out of the hips, and let's slide that right knee gently back next to left. So we come back into this tabletop. Take a moment to maybe slide the blocks out from underneath you, bring the hands flat down towards the mat. Beautiful. Take a breath in. And then as we exhale, steadily shifting the weight forwards towards our fingertips. Hug the elbows in. See if you can notice your elbows kind of graze up against your ribs as you steadily lower all the way down towards the mat. Beautiful. Okay, from here, let's take an inhale to roll the shoulders back and down, away from those ears. Rooting down through the fingertips, steadily rising up. Maybe into a baby cobra, so maybe we kind of lift the chest, keeping that softness through the elbows. Or maybe we rise up higher, pushing the ground away. Your choice there. Take a breath in. And then as we exhale, let's tuck the chin towards the chest. Pull the ribs in as we lift the hips. Tuck the toes, and let's come back, downward facing dog. So we press the hips up to the sky. Beautiful. As we arrive here, feel free to have a little wiggle, a little bend through the knees, a little sway of the hips from side to side. Lovely, well done. Okay. Take a breath in, soften through the knees, send your gaze to look forwards. And then from here, let's take a nice and easy stroll back to the top of the mat. Steady as we go, no need to rush. Beautiful. From here, again, we soften through the knees, upper body super heavy over the legs. One more breath here. One more exhale. Breathing in, let's steadily roll up through the spine. Stack up bone by bone, take your time. Lovely, head rises, and maybe we take another nice big shoulder roll. Inhale to lift them up. Exhale to send them down. Okay, we're going to work through that on the other side, keeping this steady pace as we inhale, rise up, grow tall. Exhale, hinge the hips, pull the heart down. Forward fold. Inhale, little halfway lift, fingertips to our shins. Find length through the spine. Exhale, can we maintain that length as we fold back down? Bend the knees, so much so that again the fingertips can come down towards the ground. And then this time we're going to take a big step back with the right foot. Let that right knee come down towards the mat. Untucking those right toes, and again you can be here with hands down to some blocks, or maybe we lift the head and chest and we sweep the arms up. Beautiful. Connect to the space here, so reaching up through the fingertips, letting the hips kind of softly glide forwards and down here. Find a place that feels comfortable. If we're used to coming into this low lunge and letting the body kind of sink down here, that's okay, but don't feel as though you always need to go here. Sometimes it's nice to be a little bit lifted out so we take that pressure away. Okay, take a breath and take an exhale. Beautiful. From here, we lift up that little bit higher through the right hand. Left hand is going to come down towards the left hip. So this is where we all come to first of all. As we reach up through the right fingertips, we begin to lean over to the left. Side body stretch down the right hand side. Beautiful. Can we send the breath in between each rib here? Lovely. Maybe staying here. Maybe the left hand releases, finding a block. Bringing it down to the outside of the hip so you can lean into that block, maybe reaching up a little bit over with that right hand. Lovely, well done. One more breath here. One more breath out. As we inhale, let's rise all the way back up. Left hand softly rises to meet the right. And then if it's okay for the shoulders, let's maybe bring the palms of the hands together. Inhale, reaching up high. And then exhale, bending through the elbows, and let your thumbs just gently rest to the back of the neck. You might even be able to kind of take hold of your t-shirt here to give you that little bit more stability. Leading up through the heart space, lift the chin slightly away from the chest. Beautiful. One full breath here. One full breath out. Lovely. Inhale, stretch the fingertips to the sky. Exhale, let the hands come down. This time they come down to the inside of the left leg. And maybe we wriggle that left foot out to the left-hand side. Finding your blocks again here. Beautiful. So we let the hips sink forwards and down, making sure we're stacking the bones. So left knee over that left ankle. Lovely, well done. Be here for a few moments. And again, if you wish to, we can then decide to come onto the elbows, but only if that feels okay for you. And if you come down onto the elbows here, and you feel like this left elbow especially is kind of a little bit more lifted away from the ground, maybe you have this block on the left-hand side slightly higher. So you give that left elbow a little bit more support. So there's so many ways we can play with those blocks to make sure the body is receiving the full benefits of the pose, but there's no unnecessary pressure. Okay. Beautiful. And if, like me, you're quite achy today and you want to be lifted up out of it, feel free to do so. Lovely. About 3 more breaths here. Find that heaviness through the hips. Maybe close the eyes. You've got it. One more deep breath in. One more deep breath out. Lovely. If you're down on your elbows, gently rise back out, and then we're gonna lift up out of the hips. Maybe have that little rock forwards and back, lift the left toes to the sky. Exhale, set them down. Feel free to do this as many times as you need. And then when we're ready to, planting the hands down, and we slide that left foot back next to right, so we come back into that tabletop. And again, let's bring the hands flat down to the earth here. Take an inhale. Exhale, shifting the weight towards your fingertips. Beautiful. And then we hug the elbows in. Feel the elbows graze your ribs as we steadily lower all the way down onto our bellies. Okay. Inhale, loop the shoulders down and away from those ears. Maybe a little push through the fingertips as you lift up through the head and heart. And again, we can be here in this little baby cobra. Or maybe pushing the ground away, rising up that little bit higher. Lovely. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Let's gently tuck the chin towards the chest. Pull the ribs in as we begin to lift the hips. Tucking all 10 toes under. Fly the hips to the sky. Downward facing dog. Beautiful. And again, feel free to have that nice little wriggle here. Bending through one knee, then the other. Little sway of the hips from side to side. Beautiful. Similar to what we did in our tabletop near the beginning, how we let ourselves kind of wriggle through that free movement, finding these pockets of space. Maybe it's a similar thing here. Finding all of these perhaps new ways to move around in our down dog, still feeling firmly rooted down through the hands and the feet. But there's this spaciousness, there's this freedom to move here. Okay, one more breath in. One more breath out. Breathing in to gaze forwards, bend through the knees, and again we take that little stroll back to the top of the mat. Take as many steps as you need to here. Coming back into your forward fold, firmly planting the feet underneath the hips. Upper body relaxing over the legs. One full breath in. And one full breath out. Breathing in, let's steadily roll up through the spine. Stack up bone by bone, take your time. And then the head rises. And another shoulder roll, lift them up to the ears. Exhale, set them down. Beautiful. Okay, from here, I'm going to turn to face you. So again, starting with the feet rooted underneath the hips, toes pointing forward. You may have a slightly wider base, but let's not have the feet too far apart nor too close together. So we've got this sturdy base underneath us. From here, arms are kind of soft down by your side. And then you're going to flip the right palm up to the sky. Reach the right arm away from you, so as far away as you can. Take it all the way up and over, so we come into this side body stretch. So we're kind of reaching over towards the left with the right hand. Maybe with this right hip, we push it across to the right hand side. Beautiful. Now take a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to let this right arm start to drop down and reach towards the left hand side. Be heavy through the head here. Let the right shoulder come down, and we gradually start to roll down through the spine, coming down towards the left. Come down as low as feels comfortable. You might have blocks down here waiting for you. And then gradually come into that fold down towards the left hand side, similar to what we did at the beginning, but instead of kind of walking the hands around to one side, we've rolled down through the spine. Breath in, breath out. And as we inhale, we can nice and easily come back through the center. Beautiful. Let's bend through the knees, roll up through the spine. Again, take your time. Feel the feet kind of pushing the ground away as you steadily rise up tall, head rises. You can have another shoulder roll if you like. And then we're just going to repeat that on the other side. So this time it's the left palm that flips up towards the sky. You stretch it down and away. So again, you reach as far away as you can, as far away as feels comfortable. Start to reach it up and over, a little side body stretch. Breathing into the left side body here. Maybe that left hip kind of goes over towards that left hand side. Take a breath. And as we exhale, let's let that left arm come down, and we start to drip down towards the right hand side this time. Slow this down. By slowing it down, we can really feel into every stretch, every space within that left hand side, which is getting that nice little open up here. Beautiful. And steadily coming down into the forward fold down the right hand side. So again, we can slightly swing that left hip across to the left. Fingertips might touch down, or maybe you've got blocks there waiting for you. Head hangs heavy again here. Take a breath. And take an exhale. Beautiful. As we inhale, again, we come back through the center. Okay. And then from here, instead of rising up, let's soften through the knees, fingertips come down, and then carefully dropping one knee down, then the other, so we can come all the way into kneeling. We're actually going to come to sitting on our heels for this, but if this isn't comfortable for you, again, we have our blocks ready to help us. So one thing you can do is place one block in between your sit bones and your heels to lift the hips a little bit higher. Or maybe grabbing two blocks or as many as you need, separating the knees, sliding the blocks between the legs, and let the sit bones come down so you have this little seat on top of the blocks. And the toes or the tops of the feet are down towards the mat underneath you. And again, this might be a little bit nicer. Again, you can play with both options, find which works best. And then sitting up nice and tall, shoulders away from the ears, palms to hands are resting down towards the thighs. We're just going to move through a quick little twist from side to side, similar to what we've done before. So we're going to kind of slide the left hand down the left thigh. It's going to want to lift away as we keep reaching the left arm away from the body. See if we can follow our fingertips with our gaze here. Stretch the left arm all the way up. Exhale, rolling the left shoulder back as we twist the torso to the left hand side. Beautiful. Maybe looking back behind you. Let that left arm softly come all the way down, and it reconnects with that left thigh. Let's go on the right hand side. Slide that right hand down the right thigh. Reach it away. Inhale. Send it up to the sky. Exhale as you start to twist towards the right, maybe looking back behind you. And we can let that right hand also reconnect with that right thigh. Beautiful, well done. From here, hands connect down towards the mat. If you're using props, gently take them out from underneath you. Let's swing the ankles round to one side, sit bones connect down. And almost similar to what we did towards the beginning, we're going to find that butterfly shape within the legs. So soles of the feet come together, let the knees float out towards the side. And you can be here. You may decide to use blocks underneath the knees again if you found that little support to work well for you here. Let's inhale to lift it through the head and heart. So instead of lying back, we're actually going to go the other way and roll forward. So breath in, grow tall. Exhale, melt the heart forwards. You can let the hands relax here, so don't feel as though you need to grip on towards the feet and pull the body forwards. Let's softly melt the heart forwards. Again, you've got this heavy head, release through the back of the neck. You can let the shoulders kind of round forward slightly, let the shoulders separate left to right. There's that space there. Beautiful. And just allowing ourselves to be in this nourishing forward fold whilst also getting that stretch for the hips. Stretch for the lower spine. Keep that steady breath flowing in and out here. You've got that gentle ebb and flow. You can notice how you feel here and now for a few moments. Notice any differences, any similarities. What's perhaps changed within your body or mind. If anything, that doesn't mean we have to feel any particular way. These are just kind of questions we might like to ask ourselves here. Beautiful. Over time we might find ourselves dripping that little bit further into the fold. And then we can take one more breath in. One more breath out. Steadily using the hands to help you roll up through the spine. Stack up bone by bone. Rising up. Okay, and then from here, again, we might use the hands to help the knees come to a close. Step the feet maybe mat distance apart, a little bit wider than your hips. You can place any props across to one side and maybe take a moment to lean into the hands and just again sway those knees from side to side. Beautiful. Maybe just coming one side and the other once or a couple of times. And then when you are ready to, let's come all the way down onto our backs. Beautiful. And you can come back exactly how we started. So if you want to come to that butterfly shape again, feel free to do so. Or maybe we do the opposite here. Maybe we let the knees knock together and the feet come towards the outside edges of the mat here. So we've got this kind of subtle internal rotation after so much external rotation. This might also feel really nourishing for the lower spine here. Alternatively, you might just like to let the legs lengthen along the mat. Always find a place that feels best for you. I'm going to take a few moments here and now, just settling back into the breath. Checking back in with our bodies, our minds, and really allowing ourselves to just rest for a few moments here. Connect to the space within, notice whether it's perhaps grown slightly, whether there's more spaces here. And then maybe now's the time to decide what it is we'd like to fill that space with. Time for ourselves, time for others, patience maybe, kindness. Fill the space with anything you truly desire in this moment, and rather than it being a materialistic thing, rather than thinking of it like an object or a thing you'd like to possess, maybe it's a little bit more subtle than that. We can almost set this little dedication or intention for ourselves to fill that empty space with love, kindness, joy, and anything else can get left behind. It's always good to remember that should we find this space gets too busy, too full, we can always come back and repeat the process again. Finding those empty spaces, letting them exist within us, and then deciding what to fill them with. Spend the final few moments here, just being with your breath, listening to that gentle ebb and flow. And then when you're ready to, get that deep breath in through the nose, soft sigh out through the mouth. Again, deep breath in, deep breath out. One more, making it the deepest, most conscious breath you've had yet today. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Gradually letting little bits of movement start to filter back in. They go through fingertips, toes, wrists, ankles. If there's a particular movement your body is calling out for now, feel free to just move in your own way here. Take a stretch, find a twist, have a good old yawn, whatever you need to do. And then when you are ready, choosing a side, the left or the right, and letting the body softly roll to that one side. And then using your hands to help you as you rise up, finding a comfortable seat. Beautiful, you might come to cross-legged, kneeling, you might even stay lying down if you prefer. Take a moment as you arrive here, soften through the shoulders. If you're coming to seated, maybe the palms of the hands land upon the knees. Sliding those shoulders down and away from those ears. Let's close the eyes as we seal our practice, as always, with the final blessing. May the sun bring you new energy by day. May the moon softly restore you at night. May the rain wash away your worries. And may the breeze blow new strength throughout your being. And may you walk through the world knowing its beauty all the days of your life. And with that, we bring the palms of the hands together in front of the heart. And we bow. Thank you so much, YouTube yogis, for joining me today for that ether element yoga practice. I hope you are feeling a little bit more spacious within your bodies, your mind, and I hope you take that space with you. Don't feel as though you have to fill it with so much stuff, especially as we kind of get closer and closer to Christmas. It gets a little bit tempting to get a little bit chaotic, so maybe reserve a little bit of that space for yourselves, and whenever you need to, you can repeat this practice and find that space again. All right, I'll be back on the mat with you in about a week's time, so I hope to see you then. Have a lovely week. Bye. Mwah.